Good morning. Today we are going to deal with LINAC or linear accelerators. Linear accelerator, by the name itself, the particle will follow a linear path or a straight line path. LINAC or linear accelerator is used to accelerate charged particles along a straight line in multiple steps by an oscillating electric field. So it's a type of accelerator that increases the velocity of charged particles by subjecting to a oscillating electric field. Here you can see a LINAC, which is used in the field of medicine. So it's a device most commonly used for external beam radiation treatments, or what we can call it as teletherapy. So the picture shows a medical LINAC. So again, linear accelerator accelerate particles, charged particles along a straight line in multiple steps by an oscillatory electric field. In linear accelerators, these particles are accelerated by applying these particles to a series of electrodes or drift tubes with an applied frequency which is in resonance with the motion of the particles. So after following the straight line path, the particles will finally attain a high velocity. The first working linear accelerator was built by R. Withrow in 1928. In that structure, he used only 3 coaxial cylindrical electrodes, and he could accelerate K plus as well as Na plus ions. Later on in 1931, Leo Lorentz and D.H. Sloan produced a beam of mercury ions having energy 1.25 mega electron volt. So this is the history of LINAC. So more and more developments were there so that we can attain particles with high energy. So this is the picture of a LINAC, where you can see a series of coaxial cylindrical drift tubes along the axis of which the particles travel. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drift tubes. So along this axis the particle will travel from A, then after the drift tube it will move on to the target. Now in these drift tubes you can see alternate drift tubes. See 1, 3, 5. These are connected to one terminal of the RF oscillator, while the other set of alternate electrodes like 2 and 4 are connected to the other terminal of the RF generator. In a linear accelerator, the successive electrodes are of gradually increasing length. So here you can see the first drift tube is having small length, second drift tube is having a greater length than that of first drift tube, and the last drift tube is having the highest length. So the cylindrical drift tubes, all these cylindrical drift tubes are arranged inside a glass vacuum chamber. An ion source or the particle which has to be accelerated is kept at the source point A. So let's think that we are having a positive ion at A. So when we are having a positive ion at A, the first drift tube is negative. That means the positive ion gets accelerated towards the first drift tube. And the length of the first tube is adjusted in such a way that the time taken by the positive ion to travel this entire length is exactly equal to the half the time period of the radio frequency accelerating voltage. That means during a half cycle, the particle will move inside the drift tube. And whenever this particle reaches this ends, the polarity gets reversed. That means now the second drift tube becomes negative, so that the particle will get accelerated towards the next drift tube. So as the ions travel inside the drift tube, they do not gain any energy, but the ions are accelerated only in the gaps between the drift tubes. So that is the construction as well as working of the LINAC. So here also the working is explained. So the ions, positive ions are moved towards the first drift tube, since the first drift tube is negative. So in between the gap the particle is accelerated, and once it is entered inside the drift tube, it is moving with a constant velocity. Whenever it reaches the end of the drift tube, the polarity of the drift tube is reversed. That means the second drift tube becomes negative, so that the positive ion gets accelerated towards the second drift tube. So the acceleration is done in between the gaps of the drift tubes. Once the positive ion enters the drift tube, it undergoes the same velocity. So the acceleration only takes place inside the drift tubes, and according to the reversal of the polarity, the particle is accelerated and finally it is ejected out to the target. So, let V, capital V, be the potential of the first drift tube. So when after reaching the first drift tube, it had attained a velocity v1. See, from the ion source, from here the particle is accelerated towards this first drift tube. So the acceleration is done here. So the velocity attained by the positive ion is v1, and this drift tube is connected to an RF oscillator, so that V is the potential. So what is the energy gained by that particle? We know that if V is the potential difference and Q is the charge of the particle, the kinetic energy gained by that particle is half mv square, which is equal to qv. So here, after on reaching the first drift tube, it has attained a velocity v1. So how we can write half mv1 square is equal to qv. That is the energy acquired by the ions of charge q in passing one gap. And V is the potential of the first drift tube. So now the particle has attained a velocity v1. Now after the next acceleration, it attains a velocity v2. That is, v2 is the velocity of the ion on entering the second drift tube. So here the acceleration, second acceleration is done here. So now the velocity has changed from v1 to v2. So how we can write equation? Half m v2 square is equal to 2qv. So the ions gain an additional amount of energy qv. So in the first drift tube, it has attained an amount of energy qv. Now v2 on having velocity v2, it has attained an energy 2qv. So how we can write? v2 half mv2 square is equal to 2qv. So from this we can write the velocity of v1, velocity v2, etc. So solving the first equation, that is half mv1 square is equal to qv, we will get v1 as root of 2qv by m. Now the second equation, half mv2 square is equal to 2qv. So again, solving for v2, we will get v2 as root of 4qv by m. Now qv by m is v1. So you can write v2 as root 2 into v1. So energy acquired by the ions is half mv2 square is equal to 2qv. From that you can write v2 in terms of v1. v2 can be written as root 2 v1. So this process continues and a large number of drift tubes can be passed, and in between that gaps the particle is accelerated. So in generally, after crossing the nth gap, the energy will be nqv. After crossing the first gap, the energy gained is qv. After crossing the second gap, the energy attained by the particle is 2qv. So after crossing the nth gap, energy will be nqv. So we can equate energy to nqv. Half mvn square is equal to nqv, and simplifying we can write vn as root of 2nqv by m. In terms of v1, root n raised to half, that is root n into v1. So vn is equal to root n into v1. So the first velocity is v1. Second velocity is root 2 v1, third velocity is root 3 v1, etc. up to root n v1. So we can write the ratio as 1 is to root 2 is to root 3 is to up to root n. So that the length of these tubes must also be in the same ratio. And the final energy of the ions depends on the total number of gaps and the energy gained in each step. If we want higher energy, we can add more drift tubes so that in between the gaps gets increased and we can attain high energy. Also, by changing capital V potential difference to a higher value, the energy gained by the ion after passing each gap is QV. So that if V is higher, the energy gained will be higher. So the final energy of the ions depends on the total number of gaps and the energy gained in each step. Now this is the history of LINAC. A 2-year-old boy suffering from a tumor in his eye was the first to undergo X-ray treatment. And in that treatment, they used medical LINAC that was developed by Henry Kaplan. So here you can see the picture of the boy who is undergoing treatment using medical linear accelerator. The treatment saved the child's sight and he lived the rest of his life with his vision intact. And you can see the picture of Henry Kaplan on the left side, and he is assisted with Michel Wisbluth, who is the first physicist Kaplan hired for the working of LINAC. Now, moving on to the advantages. LINAC produces a very high beam current. So that is a main advantage. Also, after attaining high energy, the particle can be extracted very easily from the LINAC. So that extraction and injection of the high energetic beam is simple in the case of LINAC. And we know that LINAC, it is a linear accelerator so that the particle will travel in a straight line. So as they travel in straight line, there is no radiation loss. So these are the main three advantages of linear accelerator, and we can compare this with a circular accelerator also. A smaller magnet can be used for producing particles of same energy, and for very high energies, linear machines may be more economical than other accelerators. And these particles automatically emerge from a linear accelerator, so that we doesn't need any other charged particle for this, for the extraction of the beam. See, you can think of a cyclotron where the particles has to be extracted from the cyclotron by placing an oppositely charged particle outside. So that disadvantages is not there in LINAC. The particles will automatically come out from the accelerator. Now the uses are linear accelerators can be used for electron acceleration, proton acceleration, etc. And they are used as injectors for high energy machines such as proton synchrotrons. Now the limitations include, we know that in order to increase the energy, we have to increase the gaps. So on increasing the gaps, we have to include more drift tubes, and these drift tubes has to be enclosed in a vacuum chamber. So whenever we need more energy, we have to include more drift tubes so that the length of the LINAC will be more, which is inconveniently large. Also, it is very difficult to maintain vacuum in such a large chamber. So these are the main two limitations. That is, it is difficult to maintain such vacuum in a large chamber. Also, it's inconvenient to handle if there is a large number of drift tubes. So this is another medical linac used for the treatments. So we had seen in this session linac, its history, its principle, its working, construction and the derivation, along with its uses, advantages and limitations. Thank you.